NewsX's sister publication, The Sunday Guardian, has conducted a major agenda-setting interview today. Published as a lead on today's Sunday Guardian newspaper is an interview with a man who has been caught at the center of a global attempt to defame India. Nikhil Gupta has been accused of plotting to assassinate Sikhs for Justice terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI, arrested Nikhil Gupta from Prague last year, and since then he's been lodged in a jail in the United States. In his first interview to any media outlet, Nikhil Gupta answered the Sunday Guardian's questions through an intermediary from jail last week. Joining us on the telecast is a very special guest now, Fabian, former ambassador of India to Qatar, for his perspective on this big story. Ambassador Fabian, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being with us today. Nikhil Gupta, in this interview with the Sunday Guardian, says he's being made a political tool. What do you make of this case?
First of all, I wanted to let us compliment Sunday Guardian for conducting an interview with him because no one else seems to have done it. But I was a little surprised that he should answer Sunday Guardian's questions in articulate English language, whereas Nikhil says that he answered the court in Prague in Hindi. So that was a little intriguing. Second thing is that Sunday Guardian did not ask him why did he go to Prague at all. If you remember, he had gone to Prague on some date, probably 30th of June. You can double check. And as soon as he landed there, he was detained by the Czech police. So my question is, Sunday Guardian should have asked him, why did he go to Prague at all? And what is more interesting is that, any Indian citizen abroad under detention is entitled to consular protection. Now, consular protection means the embassy should have access to him, and if necessary, the embassy should arrange for his defense at the court, and we can do it at government expense if the person concerned doesn't have the means. So what happened in Prague, that also we do not know. So to say that it is political may be correct, but if I may say so, it's rather vague.
Well, the US has the right to probe this allegation, but can India seek for swift proceedings in this matter?
Well, we don't know what our Consulate General in New York has done. That also is not clear from the interview. So, it is rather intriguing why the Consulate General in New York did not get in touch with him, or whether they got in touch with him, and then what happened. So the whole thing is, I said earlier, vague, but I would add quite mysterious.
Yes. Many are asking also, shouldn't the United States also probe Pannu and the Khalistan network, which is active in the country? How do we also mount more pressure on them for this issue?
It's like this, my view, and I have taken this consistent line, that even in Canada, where the Khalistanis are more active, we should be very clear in our mind. If they propagate Khalistan through non-violent means, well, we cannot take any objection, because in Canada it is perfectly legal to preach separatism. You know that in Quebec they had held a referendum even. But if the Khalistanis, in the name of preaching Khalistan, under the guise thereof, threaten India's diplomats or Indian entities such as Air India. I was there in Canada when Indira Gandhi was assassinated. I was there during the Blue Star. Anyway, and also Kanishka. So, if they resort to violence, acts of violence, or even to the threat of violence, then Canada is obligated to take proper action. Now, I'm not sure whether Canada has always taken that action. Now, more or less the same thing will apply to the United States in the sense that preaching separatism, I do not know whether it's illegal, but using violent means or threatening violence, well, that certainly is illegal, and the United States government is obligated to take action.
Now, Master Fabian, where do you see the case of Nikhil Gupta going next? He's pled not guilty. The US has indicated this is a complex case. Where do you see this case headed now?
As I see it, and again, I should confess, I'm retired. I retired in 2000. I'm not privy to, what is happening in terms of communications between our missions in the United States and the MEA and all that. I'm not privy. But it appears that Washington is trying to put pressure on us by using this Panoon case, for in other matters. For example, there is a report that the Prime Minister is going to Kiev. I do not have confirmation. You may have. Today is the 17th, no?
Yes.
Oh, no, today is the 18th.
18th, sir, yes.
Yeah, we haven't heard any confirmation. Now, when
Yes.
Prime Minister went to Moscow and he had conversation with President Putin, the West in general and the United States in particular, they made so much fuss about it. I couldn't see the point. I don't see why they should have done that. But they did that. And so what I'm trying to say is that it seems, mark my word, it seems the United States is trying to derive advantage in other matters by pushing the Panoon matter. And of course, what is even more mysterious is that we have been told that Government of India has appointed a high-powered committee to go into the whole thing. But have you heard anything about what that committee has done? We haven't. But we hear from the United States from time to time. We are aware that the Government of India has appointed a high-powered committee. And another point I want to make is that, what happened in Canada with Niger, no? And Panoon, these are all interrelated. And in the case of Canada, India categorically stated that Canada had no case. Whereas in Canada, a murder had already taken place. Whereas in the United States, allegedly, mark my words, allegedly a murder was prevented. Okay? But in the case of the United States, India said, yes, we are looking into the matter. And I privately hear that some actions have been taken in the sense that some officers have been sent back to their state cadre and all that sort of thing. So, Government of India also is not coming out, publicly with it. But there, I should add that, there are instances where the government is not in a position and it will not be prudent to come out with things, because it might be necessary to keep certain things, confidential. But on the whole, for the average Indian citizen, the whole matter is very, very mysterious. It's an enigma.
Meanwhile, I have to ask you also, Master Fabian, Nikhil is saying that the entire case is false and intended to defame India. What can India then do to counter and probe these attempts if Nikhil's charges are correct?
It's like this. He also said that it was intended to influence the election. Now, anyway, the election is over. No, as I said, you see, either it is the Americans do not have a case or they have a case. Now, if they do not have a case, then it is not only for Nikhil, but also for Government of India, namely the Consulate General in New York, to act. And we have not heard of any action on their part. On the other hand, if Nikhil doesn't have a case, if somehow he was mixed up with it, actively, passively, because he says that, as a business person, he meets so many people, he can't always be sure about their antecedents. Well, so if he doesn't have a case, well, then, he has to face the consequences of what he did.
Yes.
But having said
Yes.
that, let me add, that an
Yes.
Indian citizen abroad is entitled to consular protection,
Okay.
and that consular protection includes arranging for a lawyer to defend the Indian citizen in the court.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.